Hello moms, this one is dedicated to you. Because as a mom, you are in a unique position. You spend a lot of time and energy taking care of your children. But what if you want to also get fit, lose extra weight after pregnancy, or maybe even train for a race? Spending hours exercising, cooking is not always possible, and especially if you want to do it for you. So I created this short guide to cover the major issues moms have when trying to tone their bodies, get fitter, support their healthy and active lifestyle without going crazy.
Hello friend, if you are joining me for the first time, welcome. I'm your host Daniel Weiss, a certified nutrition coach, educator, and a hybrid athlete. I've created this show to help you make educated choices in your nutrition, training, and life, improve your health, feel energetic, and look athletic. I have been working with people who simply want to look and feel better, athletes who want to challenge themselves, but also with fitness professionals who want the best for their clients. I also know that nutrition education is not all that matters, and it would not be possible without the right mindset. So this is the topic that I pay special attention to. Now, just before we start, I would like to invite you to visit my website where you can find free guides. Just go to link danweiss.eu/guides. And there are free to download guides about nutrition, there are some recipes, and even a meal plan.
In this guide, you will find out not so obvious reasons moms have too much stress and how to relieve it. How to manage your time better so you can eat healthy, exercise while taking care of your children and going to work. What nutrients you should pay attention to and also have energy for your job, kids, and exercise. How to exercise and get the results you are looking for even if you don't have time dedicated to working out. If you are a man, listening, reading this, it will help you understand the woman's perspective better and possibly save your relationship. If you are looking for the written guide, it is on my website. It's at danweiss.eu/fit-moms. You will find there also links to other resources that I mentioned in this episode. So go there, check it out, and if I update it in the future, which most likely will happen, I will put the links there. A link to this article will be in the description of this episode. It would be also awesome if you could share this podcast with your friends or moms that want to get fitter who would benefit from it. It will help to make this podcast more visible to new people, and also it is the easiest way how you can support my work and get more in future. There is so much more to healthy lifestyle than just looking good. Feeling good is also important, and why I'm saying this is because I want to set the stage for what's to come next. So we will be speaking about the psychology of moms, but also about nutrition and the training. But before we get there, it is important to understand a few things. The fitness industry makes it seem that if you want to feel and look great, your life needs to revolve around training hard, sweating, and eating well. That can set unrealistic expectations for everyone, but especially for moms who want to tone their bodies and get fit. Fortunately, you don't need to exercise in gym every day and eat perfect meals all the time to get good results. But you need to consider what you can achieve within your means. Every woman is different, and therefore the results will be different for each of you. So don't be fooled by fitness pictures, magazines, or that you find on the internet, or maybe the results that your friend gets, because you are uniquely you. So even if you find it unrealistic to achieve that shredded body and model look, many moms who start exercising and eating well notice a better toned body, increased self-esteem and confidence. They also notice having more energy throughout the day and fewer cravings. So even if you don't manage to improve or achieve your ideal dream body, I think it is worth paying attention to because of all these other benefits. Aside from how your own body looks and feels, the way you move and the way you eat also affects your family. So what I mean by that? For example, what I mean is that you need to get pregnant first to have a family, and the fertility rates have been decreasing for years now, and that is hugely affected by our lifestyle. So taking care of yourself will help you get pregnant in the first place. Kids learn mostly through observation and not from what you tell them. So you can be preaching to, drink water, and if you drink wine by yourself, they will learn from your example, not by what you preach. Studies also consistently show that dieting mothers pass down these behaviors to their daughters, and young girls start dieting even during their school and early age, which is not benefit in every way. Obesity also is said to run in families, or rather seed in families, right? But so does a healthy lifestyle. So by changing your lifestyle, by leading by example, by taking care of your body and setting that good example, you are setting also your children for a better life. So the best thing you can do to get pregnant than to pass down good genes to your kids and teach them healthy behaviors is to be healthy yourself. Start with yourself. Now, to the psychological part. Now, many moms think that world without moms would crash and burn. And that is true, right? You do so many things. The one word I would use to describe moms is resiliency. Women are natural caretakers, and as a mom, you know that your workday starts early in the morning and it continues at work all the way up till the evening when your kids sleep. And it sometimes doesn't even finish then. Just because your kids sleep doesn't mean that you have time for yourself or to relax. So, after work, if you go like grocery shopping, then you clean house, then you cook and take care of the children. Every day is like a marathon, and this can be really stressful. Compared to men, women also have less time, and when they have that time, they usually spend it multitasking. And when you multitask, you cannot do the deep work. You cannot focus on things that make you a better person and have better quality of life, right? We see that in working environments. For example, when people do the deep work, when they focus on one thing at a time, they are much more efficient. So they take, for example, 20 minutes instead of 40 minutes getting some task done. If you are multitasking, you can be doing 4 things at the same time, but it will take also more time. Women also tend to care too much, which often results in neglecting themselves. In psychology, it goes by the name unmitigated communion. Some examples of that is like fear and concern over what other people might think about you, or maybe your family. Having intrusive thoughts about other people's problems for days after those problems have been revealed to you. Feeling responsible for fixing other people's problems is huge. putting other people's needs above their own, even neglecting your own health while doing so. Always helping others even when you are exhausted. Being exploitable, letting others take advantage of you and having a hard time saying no. So when you take on more than you can handle, it leads to a stress cycle. You will never have time for yourself to rest, in which case all your efforts to tone your body and lose weight will be unsuccessful. So this is what I see very often. Women tend to have a really busy lifestyle and they try to add more things onto it. They try to diet harder, exercise harder and more, and they are not getting results because it is like too stressful environment for your body to get the results that you want, especially when it comes to your body composition. So let's talk a little bit more about that stress cycle that's hindering your efforts and why it is hindering. So you are already stressed out. You have little time for yourself, and you have kids, you have work, you have all the other stuff going on. High stress leads to low recovery, which again leads to food cravings, more frequent binge eating episodes, and you might also skip workouts and activities that make you feel better. The thing is that when we are stressed, we are less likely to reach for exercise or for being active to relieve that stress. We more often reach for food or watch TV or scroll through Instagram or whatever it is to relieve that stress. Food is really abused in that way because it is so easy to access and it changes how we feel physiologically and psychologically. Just think about the moment when you maybe were at work and you started craving something sweet. On one side it's about blood sugar regulation, but on the other side it is also very easy to get that sugar in. It changes your state psychologically, so you feel different. So because it is so easy to access, we abuse that. The main point here is if you don't recharge your batteries, if you don't care of yourself, you will burn out. So schedule time for yourself at least once a week, but ideally you want to have these shorter periods of time every day when you do like exercise, maybe gardening. Walking in nature has been shown to be really great way to reduce stress and anxiety. These are some very good stress relievers that allow you to recharge your batteries, overcome cravings, and also stay fit. So let's talk about nutrition now. Eating as a fit mom can be problematic. I hear that all the time. I'm already busy preparing food for my kids and my husband. I can't be making meals just for myself. Well, this is the reality for most moms out there. But what if you don't need to cook separate meals for everyone? What if you don't need to even prepare separate, completely different meals for yourself? Just a minute ago, I mentioned one thing. Healthy and unhealthy eating habits run in the family. So the best way to take charge of your diet and also help your family to be healthy is to be healthy yourself. That means that what you cook for yourself should not be very different from what your children or your husband would eat. But I get it. Husbands are not always willing to eat salads and smoothies, right? I see this problem very often, and it's kind of myth, in nutrition and eating and so on, that to lose weight, you need to eat salads. And this is what women specifically like to do. I want to lose weight. Okay, I stop drinking sugary drinks, which is great. And you start eating salads. Well, vegetables are great for anybody. and everybody, even to men. But men want a piece of meat on their plate. So here is an important point. While these salads are a healthy choice for anyone and everyone, women typically prefer low protein foods which do not support their health and their body goals. So that means if you are not getting enough protein, you might be losing weight, but you are not losing fat, you are also losing muscle. And we want to really help your body. If you want to tone it, you need to build muscle. You want to lose fat and keep the muscle and build some more. I will get back to that a little bit later. But for that, you need protein, but not only for muscle, for your skin health, hair health. One of my recent clients, she noticed as we increased protein that her hair started growing faster and the quality of her hair also improved. So coming from experience and also from observations and studies, women tend to undereat protein. So cook protein-rich meals and both you and your husband and your kids or your family will be happy. So here is what I found to work best for moms who cook for the whole family. So these are the tips that I collected, I think make the biggest difference. Cook ingredients instead of meals. So for example, prepare a salad, prepare a source of protein that could be like your meat, your fish, maybe some low-fat cheese or low-fat dairy. It can be tofu, it can be even like legumes. Whatever it is, just have that protein, and every person just can put on their plate whatever they want. So prepare salad, prepare source of protein, and cook maybe grains. That can be rice for 5 days or whatever. So when you sit at the table, maybe you put on your plate some rice, you put on your plate some meat or eggs or whatever it is, or tofu. And so does your husband and your kids, but the proportions will be different. But essentially you are eating the same meal. Maybe you added a salad and nobody else will eat the salad. Okay, but you are not creating a completely different meal. You had these ingredients prepared, and this also is a benefit because each time you can maybe prepare them a little bit differently. Maybe if you have like roasted chicken breast or roasted tofu, you might prepare it without spicing it. And each time throughout that week, or for however long you prepare it ahead, you just use different spices, and so each time it can be a little bit different meal, even though the ingredient stays the same. Hope that makes sense. Then another thing is batch cook food. You don't need to cook every meal from the scratch. Like if you have like breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you don't need to be preparing it every day. Actually, don't do that. Batch cook grains, batch cook beans, your sources of protein, like we mentioned already, tofu, legumes, meat, fish. Keep it in the fridge, keep it stocked. Some of them can be even stored in the freezer for like a plan B, or when you have little time. Use that. Effective meal preppers, effective moms, use that. I like to also prepare them without flavoring, as I mentioned before. So, for example, if I take a tofu, white tofu is bland, right? But I can just use it or prepare it in an air fryer. So I bake it in air fryer, and when I bake it in that way, it's still tasteless. But I can make like one day peanut butter sauce to pair with it. Next day it can be barbecue sauce, Next time it can be curry sauce. So I'm still using that one ingredient, 3 different meals, essentially. Next thing is be the leader of change. Many of my clients who are moms noted that when they started cooking healthier, their families get healthier, so their kids and husbands eventually jumped on the train. First they get curious, especially if it looks good on the plate, and having a balanced meals with vegetables. When you have that colorful plate, people get interested. It looks good, it doesn't look bland. That's perfect, right? So they will get curious, they will be more willing to try that stuff, and eventually they will jump on the train, especially if they notice also that it makes them feel better. So you don't push it onto them. You are rather inviting them to join you. Think about it that way. Also, involve your kids in meal preparation. Even the youngest kids can make overnight oats safely. They don't need to use knife or anything like that. And if you have more mature kids, they can even help you with cooking. Or maybe they can do the dishes or anything that will help you save time, energy, and also it will tire your kids, which can be really beneficial. So what about supplements for women? On the market, there are so many supplements targeted specifically to women. We can often see collagen supplements, protein powders for women, or for example, creatine that will not cause water retention or whatever. And there are a few specific nutrients that women should pay attention to that I will mention just in a second, but they are not in that special pink packaging or in that title that it's for women. So here is what to focus on in your nutrition to wrap it up. Protein. Women tend to favor carbohydrate-rich foods and have relatively low protein intake, so really focus your efforts on protein. Eat balanced meals. They will help you be satiated, prevent cravings, build muscle, and even lose fat without starving yourself. If you want to find out more how to put together meals and eat balanced meals, in this article I have attached a presentation that I did on how to create balanced meals. It's very easy and you don't need to be counting macros, calories, or weighting all your food. Another important nutrient is iron, especially menstruating women. They lose iron in their blood, and so they have higher needs for iron. Athletes, and especially vegan athletes, tend to have lower iron levels, so this is also something to consider. Then we have omega-3s, magnesium, and vitamin D. These are common nutrient deficiencies, and therefore they are worth paying attention to, or possibly even supplementing, for example, vitamin D during winter months, depending on where you live. And here is a short tip for you. Eat soy or soy-made products. Soy contains quite a lot of protein, fiber, iron, starch, and even has positive effects on female hormones. It has positive effects on the prevention of cardiovascular disease. It can also help you with hot flushes during menopause. I recommend tofu because it is also often calcium set, but make sure by reading on the package. So you are gaining also calcium. You can also check on my website, there is on weiss.eu/guides. You'll find a recipe book where I have also some of my favorite tofu recipes because it's a staple also in my diet. And if you think that tofu is bland, let me just challenge you. You have not learned how to prepare it correctly. You can go also to YouTube or whatever. There are so many methods recommendations how to prepare it, and it can really be super delicious. Now, let's talk about exercise. So here is your Fit Mom's guide to exercise. A big mistake when it comes to exercise of moms, of women generally, they preferred sweaty and long cardio workouts. So adding more training is often not an option. And so you need to be smart about the way you eat and the way you exercise. Moms often have enough physical activity in their life, and even if the number of steps, maybe on your cell phone or on your wristwatch or whatever, might argue otherwise, so maybe it's saying you had only 5,000 steps that day, the number of steps is a good gauge of general activity, but it does not take into account activities during which you don't take many steps, but you are still very active. I'm talking about washing dishes, cooking, doing some house chores or gardening. You are not maybe taking many steps, but you are working. For example, kneading dough is more energetically demanding than walking on a flat surface, So that's something to also keep in mind. Therefore, women who want to get a toned body, I would not recommend them to do that low intensity, long hour cardio sessions. Instead, do some either high intensity training, not every day, lift heavy weights. This will help you in so many departments. It will help you get toned. It will help you with hormones. It will help you with blood sugar regulation. It will help you build muscle and keep the metabolism up and partition nutrients into the muscles. So you might feel hungrier after having that lifting session, but the point here is the nutrients will go into your muscle and into building muscle and not be stored as a fat. Building muscle is very energy demanding. So besides that, it will also make you feel like a badass. Carry the groceries in one trip, feel strong, feel confident. There are many other benefits. Play with your children, grandchildren, and it's also from the metabolic or health perspective, having that extra muscle mass that you can lose is very beneficial for health. So as we age, we tend to lose muscle mass. But if you have more muscle mass, you can afford to also lose a little bit more. So it has like preventive effect or health beneficial effect in the later stages of age. And as we age, we are getting also more resistant to building muscle. So the sooner you start, the better. Here are a few training tips to conclude. Focus on strength training. But if you cannot do that like every day, you don't need to. Focus on being physically active, or any physical activity that you can do long term is great. It helps you with like health, metabolic health, and be a better person. And you can even change it from month to month. So, for example, I worked with many women who don't like really go to gym and lift heavy, and that's perfectly fine. So we, for example, focus on that strength training to build that muscle, but the next month we do something that they do enjoy more, maybe some cardio or whatever. Then we get back to lifting, so over time we find some kind of balance of this. We don't want to not lift like ever or lift all the time. It's about finding what works for you, essentially. If you can't find 40 minutes or 1 hour for training, find 5 to 10 minutes blocks of time for your training and for activities throughout the day. Now, this is so underrated because People tend to think like, I need to do 60 minutes workout, or you have that training plan, it lists all of these exercises, sets, number of repetitions, and you cannot squeeze it into 40 minutes because you also have rest in between sets and reps. It adds up to 60 minutes, let's say. Well, if you don't have that 60 minutes, you can split it into, for example, 3 times 20 minutes. So you do first third, then second third of the workout, and then third of the workout. Or even split it in across 2 days, if that's what works for you. I mean, your circumstances are yours, and whatever you do is better than if you don't do anything, right? So being consistent, even with a lower volume, is much better than being inconsistent and having that perfect workout as it is planned, but only once or twice a week. It depends, And I covered this topic in another podcast episode. This was with Elisha Key-Feathers, and we spoke about this concept of micro workouts, what you can expect. So go check it out after you have listened to this episode. Tip number 3, stay away from women targeted workouts. These are the type of workouts that are focusing on making you sweaty, on making you, jump all over the place, feeling the burn, women specific exercises, all the things that make your training, make you think that you are training well because you feel it in your body, but they are not effective. Involve your kids in exercise and activities. I know many fit moms who are training for like marathons, triathlons, or whatever. They are running with their kids, they are biking with them, and they are working out also in the gym with their kids, or even at home, lifting their kids and so on. So you can also involve them, and if you have older kids, they can work out with you. Tip number 5, if you can't do it all by yourself, take turns, either with your husband and maybe with your friends who also have kids. So for example, you can arrange times with your husband or another mother, your friend, when they will take care of your child, then you take care maybe of your friend's child. So you can take turns, and this is hugely productive. Now, the last part, weight loss after pregnancy. I know that you have a desire to look like you did before pregnancy or when you were younger, and you want to do it in a few weeks, and you want to go on a strict diet, and that is not the best idea. Women tend to lose weight during the breastfeeding period if you are in that stage, but that is because you need also to use a lot of energy for lactation. So you are feeding 2 people, right? Essentially. So you need to have adequate energy to use that on top of your own life, on top of your training, and also to repair tissues after the pregnancy. So my friend Tina Gorshek-Sparvat, who I also had a podcast episode specifically on females, she contributed to this article also, and here is something about post-pregnancy weight loss and how it affects your hormones and what you do. So losing too much weight soon after pregnancy can lead to a hypoestrogenic state that lasts longer than it should. Naturally, women will not get their periods for a few months after giving birth, but some women report missing these periods for longer than that, and that can be troubling or is a sign of something's going on. After pregnancy, a woman's body is at risk of bone density loss due to hormones and breastfeeding. Hormonal imbalances can last up to 6 months, but they usually normalize within 6 to 12 months. During the breastfeeding, calcium and energy needs are higher. If you don't get enough calcium from food, your body will use the body stored in your bones. So this leads to lower bone mineral density, and you are more likely to get like stress fractures from exercise if you are a runner, for example, or just by injuries. Some research noted that women lose about 4 to 6% of bone mineral density during the first 6 months of lactation. But there is also some research that just shows that exercise can slow down this bone loss during the lactation period. So these are the things that you want to really take into account when you are trying to lose weight after pregnancy. Your priority should be, getting your body recovered first before you really start intentionally losing weight, because you want to get your hormones back in balance within these 6 to 12 months. And yes, you will be losing some weight. You want to eat healthy. You can pay attention to your food. You can and should be active. You should also exercise, use that strength training, but don't hurry with that. That's the main idea here. Now, if you like this podcast episode, I hope that it answered many of your questions. And I know that there will be also many questions that are left unanswered. So if you have any follow-up questions to this, you can reach out to me via email, which is daniel@weiss.eu, or you can send me a direct message on social media, on Facebook or Instagram, and connect with me in that way. And I will be sure to either answer it directly or create, next episodes or articles that will answer those questions. And quite possibly, I will update that article based on the questions that you send me or based on the new research that I come across. In the written article, you will also find links to all the things that we mentioned during this episode, and also ways how to connect, for example, with Tina and to other recommended resources. I would also like to invite you to sign up for my newsletter, so anytime when I update my articles, such as this one, you will get notifications, so you can get back to it and find about the new information that will help you be better, improve, and keep healthy, energetic, and stronger. If you like this episode, I will be very grateful if you could share it with your friends, maybe taking like a screenshot, sharing it on the Instagram, and tag me at Performance Optimized. Until then, you have a great day.